everyone, welcome to CBC Kids. Today's lesson comes from a cave. So I thought, well, I'm going to just get into it by making my own little tent cave. And so when my kids were little, we used to do this all the time. We used to take our biggest blankets and put them between and cover the chairs or cover the dining room table. And we would pretend that that was our tent and we would go camping, or that was our cave and we would be on an adventure. And sometimes we would take snacks and have a lot of fun. So we would pretend to roast marshmallows and have s'mores or just have lunch in our tent or cave. Today's lesson is about a king and a cave. So stick around for that and then you'll see what it's all about. A king and a cave.
I'm going above and beyond. I'm gonna tell the world about you and all that you've done and how your word is true. I'm gonna give all I can and pray for the lost. I'm gonna show the world your love. I'm going above and beyond. You created me for a purpose. You created me with a plan. You destined me for greatness. Now I'll give you all that I am. 'Cause there's a world out there that needs you. You're their only hope. So I'm gonna do all I can to make your name known. I'm never gonna stop, I'll never give up, I'll never give in. I'm going above and beyond. I'm gonna tell the world about you and all that you've done and how your word is true. I'm gonna give all I can and pray for the lost. I'm gonna show the world your love. I'm going above and beyond. Spirit in me, you make me strong. I'm not gonna stop going above and beyond. I know you're with me all day long. I'm not gonna stop going above and beyond. With your spirit in me, you make me strong. I'm not gonna stop going above and beyond. I know you're with me all day long. I'm not gonna stop going above and beyond. I'm going above and beyond. I'm gonna tell the world about you, all that you've done, and how your word is true. I'm gonna give all I can and pray for the lost. I'm gonna show the world your love. I'm going above and beyond.
Oh my goodness. Hi, I am just reading about our Bible story. It is so exciting. It looks like an adventure movie. There's Saul, the king of Israel. Saul was chasing after David and his brave men. And David went and he hid in all kinds of places. At one point, it says that they hid in the caves of Adullam. And then in some other place, it says that he went to all the different places, like the wilderness of Maon. and the rock of escape. And then here's another place, the rocks of the wild goats. Oh my goodness, can you imagine all these places with rocks and caves and mountains, and that you're having to hide in these places? Well, it says here that King Saul was chasing after David. It says in chapter 24 of 1 Samuel, it says, when Saul had returned from following the Philistines, he probably went to war with the Philistines, that it was told to him, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi. I thought he was in other places like the rocks of the wild goats. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel and went to find David and his men on the rocks of the wild goats. There it is, the rocks of the wild goats. So he came to the sheepfolds by the road, and there was a cave. And Saul went in to attend to his needs. He must have been tired after all of that, warring with the Philistines and then having to gather all those men. And it says, then the men of David said to David, behold, God has delivered your enemy into your hand, that you may do to him as it seems good to you. And David arose and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Now it happened afterward that David's heart troubled him because he had cut Saul's robe. And he said to this man, I made a bad choice. The Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch out my hand against him. In other words, I shouldn't harm him because he is the anointed of the Lord. So David told his men not to fight and not to rise up against King Saul. And Saul got up from the cave and went on his way. And then David also rose afterward and went out of the cave and called out to Saul, saying, My lord, the king. And when Saul looked, there was David stooped down with his face to the earth and bowed down. And David said to Saul, Why do you listen to the words of men who say, David seeks your harm? He said, Look, this day your eyes have been opened. The Lord delivered you today in my hand, but I did not harm you, because you are the Lord's anointed. What a great choice. Imagine David had the opportunity to win. He had the opportunity to win and become king. But he said, it might not be time for me to be king yet. And Saul, King Saul, is still the king, and God has made him the king. So stay tuned for part 2, because we're going to see this in action. All right. We are now in the wilderness of En-Gedi, on the rocks of the wild goats. Not only wild goats live there, but other animals lived on the rocks and in the caves hidden. And the caves were home to so many different animals. And it was also home to the soldiers who were hiding out from Saul. And Saul went into one of these caves and decided to take a rest. There's King Saul taking a rest. He's so tired from all of his escapades with the Philistines that he decided to lay down and take a rest, while his men also took a rest. And then David happened to know this because his men told him. And he went in and he cut off a piece of Saul's robe and he held it in his hand. And when Saul got up, David said, I did not harm you. I did not harm you. I spared your life. And by that, David honored God. Because sometimes when we make choices, we don't honor God. Sometimes when we make choices, it makes God sad. And David saw that the truth was that King Saul was still king. And even though God had promised David to be the king, It wasn't time yet for David to be the king, and David needed to make the choice that he did. So, well done, King David. You did a great job of choosing not to harm Saul while he was resting in the cave. But you left him unharmed in order to bring God glory and to be obedient to God. Will we do that? Will moms and dads do that? Well, I hope if God peeks in on me, which he does all the time, God has never left me alone. He is always with me, that I hope he always finds me making good choices like David. I hope you make good choices this week. All right, that's the lesson for this time. See you next time. Hi everyone, it's Bible verse time. Since this is the very first week in July, we have a brand new Bible verse. The last one was a little bit long. It was Philippians 4:8. But everyone who tried it, I'm sure you did a good job. So I think you can do a good job on this one. It is one of my favorite verses, and every time I read it, I learn something new. So it is from Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. So Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2, which says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night." So, as usual, we're going to have some motions with this. So, blessed. Imagine something like, I love piñatas. Do you like piñatas? When somebody hits a piñata and the piñata just breaks and spreads out and everybody gets a chance to get some of the candy. That's a little bit like that. Or rain. When it rains, on everything. And rain is so good for us, isn't it? Because it waters the grass, it waters the crops, it gives the animals water, it cleans things, it helps to build up our water table so that we can have water. So rain is a really good thing. Rain comes and it spreads all over the place. So blessed. And then we talk about, there's three different, actually there's 4 different actions here. There's walking and standing, right? And sitting. So walking, just like the 2 feet walking, and then standing. And then just imagine this person sitting, all right? And then there's more words. And one of them is wicked. And wicked and sinners are kind of the same thing, because people who are wicked, they're kind of mean and they're maybe nasty a little bit, and they do things that are displeasing to the Lord, which then is sin, isn't it? And so we are all sinners and we do things that are displeasing to the Lord. So the motion for that is kind of like digging like this, wicked and sinners. And then mockers, that's a really, how many of you have been teased? How many of you have been made fun of? And somebody says, yeah, you're not a good, you're now, and then you can see it on their face, and it's kind of like what they do is they kind of look you over. So this is mockers, like when you tease somebody or you make fun of somebody. And that's what that is. And then there's the day. So this is day, when the sun comes up, day and night. Day and night. And we've done this before where this is Lord. This is Lord. There's also the word law. So pretend this is like the 10 commandments, the stone of the 10 commandments, and God's law, okay? So we'll put it all together. Now what this verse is trying to tell us is that sometimes when you are mean to people, it sort of gives you a little bit of satisfaction, and it sort of makes you, I guess it makes you feel good when you're mean to somebody. When I was a little girl, I probably was mean to a lot of people. And what this is saying is, if you're not like that, if you're not being mean to people, but your happiness or what you take joy in is in God's law, right? Law of the Lord, then, and that's what you think about day and night, that it brings you a different kind of happiness. And that's what we should be striving for. That's what we should be aiming for. So let's put this all together. It says, blessed is the one who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight, here's the word, delight, is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Okay, and that's Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. I know I forgot that earlier. So let's try that all together. Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. Blessed is the one who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. All right, you want to try that one more time? I do, because it's my first time too. So just like you're learning. So it's better if we do it together, right? Okay, so let's do this together. Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. Blessed is the one who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. If you need to practice, you just have to watch this over again and over and over again, like I will have to practice it too. You know what? I should teach Mr. Pablo this. I think he would enjoy it as well. He probably would like the day and night. That's probably one of his favorites. Anyway, so I hope you practice this. Not only do I hope you practice it by doing the hand motions and memorizing it, but I hope that when you're making fun of somebody that you stop and you think, what would God want me to do? And what does God's law say? What does the law of the Lord say? The Lord says we should love one another and love our neighbors. That's one of them. So let's do this for July. Let's practice Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2 for the month of July. I think you can do it. You can. I see you next time, and we'll talk more about some of the words in this verse. Okay, have a great week.
Dude, wicked swell. Hermit crab. Sweet. Guess it's just my lucky day. You're telling me this day could not get any better. Cool watch. Cool me. What could go wrong, dude?
Where do you think you lost it, honey?
I don't know. I took a long walk and I think it just slipped off somewhere. We'll never find it on this long beach.
Surely they are not looking for this watch. They could be looking for anything. People lose stuff on the beach all the time, dude. They probably just lost a bucket or a kid or something. Hey, even if it is their watch, finders keepers, losers weepers, right? I mean, come on, I deserve something good like this. I've been surfing for hours, dude. Hey, I know what I'll do. Reading my Bible always makes me feel better, and I haven't read my youth group lesson yet. God must be rewarding me with this watch for being so faithful. Let's see. Commandment number 8. Do not steal. Well, this isn't stealing, is it? Joshua 24:14 through 15. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Well, I guess I already get enough gifts. A good swell is a gift from God, right? And I don't have to take it from anyone. Here you go. Take good care of her, dude. And find that kid.
We don't have a kid.
Proverbs 8:11. For wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare with her.